All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Unprepared. I'm your host, Chase Clymer. Today, we're talking about a topic we haven't touched on either on the podcast or on this video series very much at all, I don't think, which is sustainability. And I've got an awesome guest to bring on the show today, Adam from Recurate. How are you doing today, Adam?
Good. Very good to be here. Thank you for the invite, Chase.
Oh no, this is fantastic. So let's just dive right in. Let's talk about kind of sustainability in e-commerce. And I know you've got a lot of thoughts there, and you're bringing an awesome solution to the ecosystem. So I don't want to take up much time with rambling on my end. I kind of just want to hand it off to you.
Great. Well, thank you. I think what's probably worthwhile is for me to just give a minute or two of background from my own experience, just so I can explain why I'm the right person to be even talking about sustainability in e-com.
Absolutely.
What's relevant in my background is that for the last 10 years, I've focused on sustainable retailing and ethical production, mainly working with the largest brands. So companies like Walmart, Target, Lowe's, Home Depot, Petco, PetSmart, Walgreens, CVS, the biggest brands and retailers based in the US. But over the past couple of years, I've begun to focus more on small and mid-sized brands. So, the up and coming D2C retailers. The types of projects that I've worked on in the past, everything from social issues like human rights abuses in supply chains to conflict minerals, human trafficking, and then, of course, a number of environmental issues around energy, water, waste, material use, etc. So through that, I feel like I've gotten some pretty good experience with the issues in the industry and also the opportunities for D2C brands.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the one thing I want to point out here, and is I don't know why it took me so long with you getting on the show and the last time we spoke, was the experience that you have with these these brands you worked with historically. The one thing they're all enterprise where they kind of have a budget to tackle these issues, which is important to kind of point out, because when we get into kind of how you're helping brands these days, you can kind of get started without, such a crazy budget. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, absolutely. The positive, but then also the downside of these large companies is that, yes, while they might have a budget, they're also very difficult to change. And the great thing about up and coming D2C brands or digitally native brands is that with their relatively small teams, they tend to be very fast acting, very nimble and agile. And so, when they commit, they can implement very quickly. There's not a whole range of decision makers or lawyers that need to get into the conversation. And what I've seen from a number of D2C brands is that they have a very strong commitment to sustainability. And I love that because we're seeing consumers really demanding that now. This has become table stakes for the next generation of brands to have a focus on sustainability. And we're seeing that come through in spades.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Be it, sourcing from sustainable fabrics, if you're like a clothing brand, to donating back to causes that are helping, the environment, or other causes kind of close to sustainability. It's definitely something. I think maybe it's just more the giving back nature in general. It's just like if you're doing something cool and it's profitable, like people like to see that you're giving back.
Absolutely. Yeah. And how I think about sustainability is really holistic. If you think about your supply chain from the raw materials to the production of the products that you sell, transportation and packaging of the products that you sell, and ultimately the use of that product and the end of its life, so how it gets disposed. You need to be thinking about all of these elements of the supply chain, the whole product life, if you really want to be incorporating sustainability. Of course, that's a lot, and a lot of brands just don't have the time, capacity, or frankly, the money to be able to focus on all of those elements. And so, I see different brands choosing different components of that value chain to focus on to drive the biggest sustainable benefits for themselves.
Yeah. So let's kind of now shifted a bit to kind of the part of that chain that you've decided to tackle and try to make an impact on, and where you're spending your focus with kind of what you're launching at Recurate.
Great. Yeah, well, given my background, my goal was to drive the most sustainable impact possible. And what I found is that the best way to do that is to extend the life of a product. So you can sell a product to one customer and say it's a hat. They could wear it 2 times or 10 times or 100 times. But if it ends up in the back of their closet or under their bed unused, well, then it's just a wasted product, right? And so we got into resale or reselling items for 2 main reasons. One, if you need to buy something, the most sustainable item you can buy is one that's already been produced, so a used item. And then second is that the used product market has been growing like crazy over the past 10 years. As a result of Poshmark, ThreadUp, The RealReal, Grailed, Goat, eBay, of course, the list goes on. They've made it cool to buy used products. It's more sustainable, it's more affordable, it's more unique. You can get more unique items in that way. But of course, brands have not benefited one iota from the resale market because all of the transactions are happening on those third-party platforms. So our goal is to bring those sales, the customers, the transactions back to the brand's website. And so we created a Shopify app to do just that. It's super simple. All you have to do is install it, and we create a peer-to-peer marketplace directly on your brand's web store.
That's amazing, and it's one of those things where it's not a crazy endeavor to kind of add this to your store. And I think it definitely lends its hand to almost like, I believe that a lot of the brands on Shopify are these sustainable brands, clothing brands, where their product's life cycle can be beyond just the first end user. Like if you're selling soda or something, you can't recycle that. You can recycle the can, obviously, and I hope you do. But if it's like T-shirts or clothing, things like that, is it mostly brands like that, or who else is using this app and finding success?
Yeah, I mean the way I see it is that any brand that sells items that have a resale value can use this. So to your point about soda, I think the resale value of a can of soda is probably not very high, and so nobody's going to buy it. But anything from clothing to fashion accessories, handbags, luxury items, kids, baby products, toys, electronics, outdoor gear, anything that has a life beyond its first use or its first customer can be resold. And the way I tend to determine whether or not a product is good for resale is just to go on eBay and see if people are already reselling it. If they are, then it could probably be resold directly on that brand's website to their benefit.
And I know a lot of founders that find their products in other places and are always super like confused, or just like they think it's cool that their product has made it to a secondary marketplace. If someone's curious to learn more about Recurate, learn more about what the offering is, or just talk to you more about sustainability, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Just go to our website, www.recurate.com, or you can email me at adam@recurate.com.
Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Of course. All right. Well, thank you, Chase, for inviting me today.